Section 5.3 concerns multiplying rational numbers. Remember, rational numbers are numbers that either terminate or they repeat. They're numbers that you can predict the next number in. So, the rules for multiplying multiplying fractions, you're going to multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. So you're going to multiply straight across. You can choose to either cross-reduce or reduce at the end. So let's say we were going to reduce at the end. So I have 2/5 times 5 over 8. If I multiply straight across, I get 10 on the top, I get 40 on the bottom, and I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 10, or not multiply, but divide it by 10. So I'm going to get 1 on the top and a 4 on the bottom. Let's say I want to cross-reduce before. So I have the same problem, 2/5 times 5 over 8. I am allowed to reduce either up and down or diagonally. So I look at the 2 and the 8, and I say I can divide them both by 2, which gives me a 1 and a 4. 5 and 5 can be reduced by dividing it by 5, so I have a 1 and a 1. So multiply 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Still gives me the same answer. This one I multiplied before I reduced. This one I reduced before I multiplied. And it doesn't matter which way you do it. You pick what, and you can do it, some problems one way and some problems another way if you want. Okay, so same thing if I'm multiplying by a negative number. I'll do this one where we multiply straight across and then reduce. So negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. 4 times 7 is 28. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2. Negative 28 divided by 2 gives me a negative 1 over 14. Remember, what you do to the top, you also have to do to the bottom. This one I'm going to cross-reduce first. I do have a negative times a negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive. I divide the 3 by 3, so it goes 1 time. The 27 by 3, and it goes 9 times, so I reduce that. Then I'm going to reduce this one. I'll divide them both by 2, so that gives me a 1 and a 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 9 is 36. So it gives me a positive 1 over 36 because I have a negative times a negative. If I have mixed numbers that I'm multiplying, I have to make them into improper fractions first. And you're always going to have to simplify, whether you simplify before you multiply or after. So this is 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 1 more is 3. So this is 3 over 2 times 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 more is 11. So I have 11 over 3. If I cross-reduce, I'm going to divide both of those by 3, which is going to give me 11 over 2, which I'll turn around and make back into a mixed numeral. So 2 goes into 11 4 times, actually 5 times, I'm sorry, which is going to give me a 10 right here. I'm going to subtract with 1 left over. So I'm going to do a 5, and then I have the remainder that I'm going to place over the divisor. So it's 5 and 1/2. Okay. This one, I make them into improper. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. So I have 8 over 3 times 7 times 3 is 21, plus 5 is 26. So I have 26 over 7. This one's negative. So if I have a positive times a negative, I know my answer is going to be negative. I could try to cross-reduce here, but I think you'll notice that there's nothing that can be reduced because 8 and 7 can't be reduced. And 3 and 26 cannot be reduced. So I'm going to have to just multiply straight across. So on the bottom I have a 21. On the top, I'm going to have 48, let's see, 16, 208. So then I'm going to have to make this into a mixed numeral. So it's negative. Got to take the 21, divide it into 208. It's going to go in there 9 times. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. So when I subtract, I'll have to borrow here. That makes that a 9 and this a 10. So that's going to give me a 9 and a 1. So I have 19. That's going to be my remainder. So that's what's going to go over top of your divisor. So I have a negative 9 and 19 21st. So that's going to be my answer. You also are going to have some algebraic ones. It is pre-algebra, so there's going to have some variables in them. So again, you can multiply first and then reduce. So we'll do it that way. Or you can reduce first and then multiply. So let's multiply first. So on the top, I have 3p squared q cubed over q times r. Now this is, I can reduce this right here. So if I have 2 q's on the top and I have 1 q on the bottom, and they partner up and leave, I'm going to have 1 q and it's going to be left on the top. Okay, so on the top I've got 3p squared q, and on the bottom I just have an r. So that's going to be multiplied and then reduced. Let's do the same problem, but let's reduce first and then multiply. So I can reduce those q's. I divide them both by a q. That leaves me 1 q on the top and a 1 on the bottom. So multiply straight across. 3p squared q on the top and r on the bottom. So you're going to get the same answer regardless of whether you reduce first or you reduce at the end. All right, here's a couple more. Let it focus on it. Oh, I didn't want to focus in on those. Alright, I'm not sure that you can see that real good, but you've got 4, and I'll go ahead and rewrite it. Oh, there you go, now you can see it. Okay, I'm going to cross reduce this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the t and the t squared, and I'm going to divide them both by t. So I have a t left, and it's on the bottom. I'm going to take the 9 and the 18, divide them both by 9. So I have a 2 on the top and a 1 on the bottom. And then I have an r divided by an r, which is just r to the first, it's just 1. R over r is 1. So on the top, I have a 4 times 2, which is 8. And on the bottom, I have a 1 times a t. So I have an 8 over a t. Same thing here. Basically, the x over the x is the same thing as 1. So I have a 6 over a 7. Your homework on this is page 213, 13 through 33 odd, and 39 through 43 odd.